Alright, Mr. SimpleBiz guy, let's start the show.
Hello, everybody. Jeff Mason, your host of the SimpleBiz360 podcast. We are so happy you're here today. We are on YouTube, IGTV, Gab TV, and 28 listening platforms, all your favorites. We would love a follow, subscription, or a 5-star rating only if we deserved it, but we would love you to plug in that way with us. And we are only going to spend 5 minutes today, so we're going to talk today about avoiding the dangers of corporate culture hypocrisy. And I just want to start by a little story to kind of illuminate what I mean. And that is, we were asked at the company one time that was asked to read a book by an executive, an ex-executive, and this book was all about the corporate culture that the company wanted us to follow. And if you could have been a fly on the wall in the break room to hear the astonishing conversations between us associates about how we're reading this book and realizing that they're asking us to beat to an entirely different drum than the mid-level managers or the executive tier is beating to. And it was really disconnecting. It was alienating. It was a horrible call on the company's part because they really didn't realize they resembled nothing like this corporate culture in the book, yet they wanted us to follow it. So it actually ended up hurting the company, and it was divisive. And the reason I decided to do this show is not because of that experience, but I was on a LinkedIn digital dialogue the other day as part of I was one of the featured speakers on a panel. And the comment came up as if you want your digital transformation to really be successful, you've got to make sure that your corporate culture is void of any hypocrisy because this digital transformation is a cultural change. And so somebody put a nice comment in there in the chat box. Yeah, this is important. And I figured, you know what, we should probably do a show out of this. So, I've been an executive, sat at the boardroom table, and here's what I throw out as a first suggestion. And that is adopt a boardroom humility. I mean, really, all the C-level personnel and the mid-level managers, you got to ask yourself, hey, are we behaving and acting in a way that is consistent with the actions we want from our other employees? In other words, is this culture really sewn together, or are you meeting, are you on different levels and operating differently? Because don't forget, those associates, they see you're demonstrating how you're acting, or you're demonstrating your beliefs on how you're acting. So if they see you being countercultural to the company culture, they pick it up right away. So that's the first thing. Second thing is grab an oar once in a while and row. Why not? I mean, have you ever just decided to, get together with some of the entry-level people and the ground-level people and the customer-facing people and just say, you know what, let me, for this next half hour, let me take over the customer service phone while you go to lunch, or for this hour, whatever the lunch period is. Why don't you grab an oar, get to really know your company and understand what it's like. It's so helpful, and it starts to bind that company culture together better, and you learn a whole lot as an executive or mid-level manager by picking up that headset, grabbing that phone, and being a customer service rep for an hour. It'll be a fascinating experience. And the next thing I would say is just build your cornerstone by a lead by example format, or make sure that if you're asking other people to do something, are you leading the troops by example? Again, they're looking to you to set the tone. So if you're not, abiding by the tone you're asking to be set, then you're on a brittle cornerstone. Why don't you build a strong cornerstone that's sturdy and lead by example? And then the bonus is and there is a bonus, just do a little MBWA, management by walking around. I just did a factory tour with a CEO a couple weeks ago, and I was fascinated. It's about 40 people in the factory. This CEO knew everyone's name. He knew a little bit about their life. He knew a little bit about the complexities or issues or conditions or health situations, or people were moving, people, he knew about these things, and he could talk current events with that person, as it related to their life. It was refreshing. You could see it in their eyes. They responded so favorably to it because they said, this is a CEO that's managing by walking around, but he cares. He's in the same culture he's asking me to be in. So I just say, learn from that and try those 3 things in the bonus round. I think you'll really find it will be very, very helpful to building a better culture and removing any hypocrisy that can damage those cultural threads. So what are we going to do today? We're going to leave you with a cool rock and roll tune, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Yes, the Fogarty brothers, Stu Cook, and who's the other gentleman, Doug Clifford. I keep forgetting Doug all the time, but out of El Cerrito, California. This is off their Green River album in 1969, Commotion. And let's get rid of that crazy commotion and build a nice culture in our companies. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in 168 hours.